Every year, a small group of students and staff from RFHall make the long journey to Nicaragua. This year, it was to the isolated area of the East Coast, where up until a year ago there was no road. The only way to get in there was by boat. Each year, we go looking to discover something new about ourselves and our world. It is always a trip into the unknown, the unfamiliar, into uncharted areas of our own heart. We go because we believe that we can change, and in that process, change the world. We believe that the poor have much to teach us, and that in meeting those whose daily life is a struggle for justice, we will uncover something more of our own humanity, something more of what it means to be a believer in the goodness of our life and in our God. Above all else, this remains a spiritual journey, a quest to uncover hope in the heart of suffering, light in the path of darkness, and heaven in the places that often resemble hell, and so become agents of change and of transformation. Now, change can be good or bad. In Chinese, the word for crisis is written with two distinct letters, one meaning danger and the other opportunity. Crisis is a moment of change, and it can be dangerous. It can lead to something bad. Or on the other hand, it can be an opportunity. It can lead to good and to God. We know that God comes to us in moments of crisis, like light into darkness. And we know that people who live in darkness can either curse the light or can welcome the light. Often bad things happen in the dark, and our darkness can be many things: fear, ignorance, poverty, hurting, and suffering. We also know that this is a critical time in our history. It is a time of crisis. Wars are going on. There's lots of poverty, injustice, suffering. And God is calling. God wants us to walk in the light, to get past the darkness, to be made new. Every year we take some time to visit the garbage dump in the capital city of Managua. This year it came at the end of our trip, and of course it's a place that looks and smells very much like hell. This year, for the first time, we stepped out of the bus and into some of the homes made of garbage, and we spoke to the children of the dump who are trying to build a brighter future. They reminded us of the grandeur and the greatness of the human spirit, the capacity to hope and to be light in the midst of the darkness. However, earlier in our trip, there were some in our group who complained that the trip so far had not been emotional enough, poor enough, enough of a shock. What is it that we really want to change? Most of all, it is to change ourselves, our prejudices, our insecurities, our privilege, our power, our worldview, even our action plan for the future, our choices about lifestyle. As someone said last year, if you look at the people you associate with, you'll find out a lot about who you really are. So perhaps even changing our relationships and who are our friends, choosing work that really is about change, choosing where to spend our time. As Mary Jo Letty says, where you stand determines what you see, and who you listen to determines exactly what you hear. They say that every journey begins with a single step. Whether that journey be by land, air, or sea, whether we fly in airplanes, or ride a bus, or sail the waves on a Nicaraguan panga boat, or simply walk, this journey will always take us to the place of discovery, of awakening, and of awareness. This year, our journey to Haulover, Nicaragua, help us to recognize that the deeper journey, the spiritual one, the odyssey of the heart, is all about discovering the difference between what is good and what is not, between what is heaven and what is hell. There is a famous story that evokes this very well. It's about a bountiful woman who, after living a very full life, must confront this central issue at the end of a long and privileged life. So on her deathbed, her puffed-up soul floats into the clouds, where she confronts what she presumes must surely be an angel, a being of great light. And this ephemeral being tells her that she must choose between heaven and hell. And all that she need do is discover the secret as to how they are different. Looking at the angel, not sure if it is the angel Gabriel or the demon Lucifer before her, she sees two massive doors, each the same, identical, on either side of the angel. And so it is that the angel first leads her through the door on the left, and to her surprise, she reads on the back of this massive door the following phrase, which says, "There is only one rule here. All must eat with a 6-foot-long fork." And thinking this rather strange, the voluptuous woman steps through the door. And at first all she sees is a huge banquet table, as far as the eye can see, overflowing with foods and delicacies and treasures, everything the human heart could ever desire, laden there in beauty and abundance. And thinking this must be heaven, she sees the angel pointing at the multitude around the table, and her mind is immediately changed, because their faces tell it all. They're filled with torment, with hunger and frustration, hatred, envy, and dismay, and she can see that none are happy because all are starving. They cannot feed themselves from the table, as everything that they try to grab to just falls from their mouths, falls from the forks, and the floor is strewn with garbage, with putrid, wasted, rotting food. There's more than enough for all, yet none are able to receive. And she realizes she is, of course, in hell, not heaven. In dismay, the angel then leads her to the other gate, an identical door. And in her haste to enter, she fails to read the rule that hangs on the back side. She rushes to see what heaven looks like, and realizes immediately it is the same. The chamber is filled with a huge banquet table, overflowing with delicacies and treasures of every description, all that a person could ever want or need. And on their faces she immediately sees contentment, happiness, well-being, health, and even joy. So she turns to the angel and she declares, "I know it! I've discovered the secret, the difference between heaven and hell. Here there are no rules. All can eat to their heart's content. I know the difference. Let me stay here. I understand the secret." But then the face of the angel turns sad and dark as he points to the back of the door through which they had entered. There too, hung in an identical place, is a plaque with one single rule etched upon it, which reads, "There is only one rule here. All must eat with a 6-foot-long fork."